What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to the Creative Hunter podcast. This week we have Brad Hunt on here on the episode. Brad needs no introduction. If you know about Gritty, Brian Call, those guys, Brad is a big part of Gritty and their films and everything that they do over there. So he's really cool. If you haven't heard of him, check him out on Instagram. But I posted a video last week about getting ready for this deer hunt I have coming up. By the time this podcast drops, I'll actually be on the hunt. So if you're keeping up on Instagram, I'll post some updates on there. But really cool. I'm trying to make it so you guys can kind of follow along the hunt as we go. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely go check out my page and you can follow along on everything on there. But guys, right here, Brad Hunt, let's get into it. This is a great podcast. What's
Hey,
up?
Logan. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Sweet.
Good.
Hopefully it sounds all right. Good. Just busy. Trying to like keep up with life and then Gritty, and Brian has a dang good elk tag this year, so we've been scouting for that, and so yeah, he should kill a giant this year, hopefully. We got some good bulls on camera and stuff, so hopefully it all works out. But
that'll be cool.
Yeah, how you been, man?
Good, dude. I was in Texas all summer working and just moved back into Idaho like yesterday. So we've been like moving stuff in and got a new apartment. So it's been great.
Good. So where'd you guys move to?
We're in Rexburg, so I go to school up here still.
Okay,
yeah.
You're finishing school.
But
nice. What are you going to school for?
Communications.
Okay.
Digital communications.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
While trying to film.
Yeah. It's a lot. You can't tell you how many times I've thought about just dropping school, but I'm so dang close. It's like
yeah. If you don't have much time left, it's worth it. But
yeah,
like I dropped out, and the only reason I dropped out was because my wife had got into the dental hygiene program.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, her school's so expensive. I was like, all right, somebody has to go to work full time, and we just had got married too. And so I decided I dropped out, went to school or to work full time, and then that's it. Like never went back, sadly.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Good, dude.
So yeah.
It's you don't like these days. You don't really need it necessarily. So it's not a bad thing.
Especially if you have a little bit of an entrepreneurial like mindset and I don't know, just some business information that you can gain. Like you don't need it. You really don't need it, I don't think. But when you do have it, it's nice. It is worth it. So
yeah, for sure.
Shoot, that light's a little bright. It's the other one. I can stop it from shining right there. I don't have my whole studio set up yet.
Yeah.
We're actually getting ready to move again. We're going to move back into our fifth wheel, I think. And because we're getting ready to build our house. So if we build our house, my dad's going to help me build it. And we should have it hopefully next year we're in a house, because that would make my wife so much happier.
Yeah.
You see what it looks like without that light. That's probably all right.
That's not bad, actually.
Less shine.
Yeah.
So,
nice, dude.
but yeah, it'd be nice to be. We've been in a townhome for the last, almost year, but we haven't been in a house since 2021. Is when we sold our house. So she's ready to get back into an actual like a place she can call her home, not just a place to stay, you know. But hopefully we can get it done. We're just trying to finish up all of our stuff right now, but we should know in the next week or two, and then we can get to building it right in the middle of hunting season.
Yeah. Oh man.
But oh well, it'll be nice. Like I just want to get the concrete done right now and the floor on, and then I can cover it, and then we can work on it, whether we start next spring or we can start working on it this fall, like if my dad comes over or whatever. But yeah, that's our goal and our plan. So hopefully it does happen, but don't know. It's expensive right now. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I bet.
But it's cheaper for me to build a custom home than it is for us to go buy a home, for sure.
Really?
especially with my dad building it. Like it saves
Oh,
me so
nice.
much more money and helping on my own do it as well. You just save so much
Yeah.
more than buying a regular home or already done home. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll probably be sub 450,000, and a crappy home right now is not even that. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know.
That's awesome.
But yeah, well
Yeah,
shoot, man,
dude. Housing's crazy.
how's the married life?
It's great. It's
It's
good.
good.
Yeah, we're oh man, like 8 months into it now,
Heck
and
yeah.
no, it's going great. So
Heck yeah,
it's
man.
good. Yeah, we my wife's excited because we'll be living in this apartment for at least a year. We signed a year
Yep.
least, so
Okay.
like
So you're
we've been
settled
bouncing
down for a
around,
year.
but yep, which is nice.
Yeah,
But
I bet. Well, that's,
yeah,
dude, I remember like even when I was in college, we rented a house and it was
yeah,
$750 a month.
yeah.
Dude, it
There
was
you
so
go.
cheap. Like a big garage, 4-bedroom house. Like we all had our buddies. We were paying like
Man,
$200 a month in rent.
yeah,
And now it's like, dude, if you can find a house for under 2 grand, you're doing good.
yeah. Oh yeah,
But
houses are
it's
crazy.
yeah, it's stupid anymore. Hopefully Rexburg's a little cheaper for the student housing stuff.
Yeah, we pay
But
950 for a two-bed
oh yeah,
apartment,
which
so
that's
not
good.
too
That's
bad, but
better than yeah the 2000.
yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
yep. Well, cool.
Good. Well, good, man. I'm recording right now. We can kind of just keep chatting and start talking hunting and everything. What do you have any good tags this year?
I do actually. So I have my regular elk, Idaho elk and deer tags and stuff that I get.
Nice.
But I
Yeah.
drew the Montana general combo. So I've
Oh,
got
nice.
elk and deer over there. So plan on doing some archery hunting for elk there. I'm hoping I get some archery elk hunting. If not, worst case, I'll go rifle hunt it. But
Yeah.
I actually am headed to Hawaii in like 2 days to go chase
Dang.
axis deer. So Drew Miles from Tricer, him and I are gonna go over there and shoot some
Okay.
axis deer with our bows right before the elk season starts. But
That'll be
so that'll
cool.
be fun. I've never done it, so that's what I'm
Yeah.
excited about. And then a lot of this year is kind of my focus is yeah, I have my tags, but I really am focused on my oldest boy. He'll be 11 in September, and he drew a really good antelope tag, buck tag
Nice.
this year. And then he'll have his deer tag, and then he'll have his. I actually am putting him in on a second elk draw right now, so we'll see
Yeah.
if he gets that
Gotta get
tag or
one.
not. But yeah, well, I'm excited because I just want to focus on him and
Yeah.
his hunting. You know, as he starts his hunting career, I guess.
Yeah.
But
That's
so that's
cool.
yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, man, I drew an archery deer tag in Utah, so that one starts about a week from
Okay.
Saturday. So that's
Yeah.
coming up. Excited for that one. But other than that, I've just got general tags, Idaho elk and deer
Yep.
tags. My wife drew a really good rifle elk tag in Idaho,
Okay.
so that's in October. But she's only killed a turkey this spring. She's never like hunted much, so she's
Oh
excited.
yeah.
But
Well, that's
yeah,
good.
it'll be
That'll be
fun.
awesome. That'll
It'll
be
be good.
cool.
She's
Like,
yeah, she's so pumped for it. Like it's pretty cool.
oh yeah, trying to get the legs ready for the hiking and the backpacking, and
Yeah,
that'll be
exactly.
awesome. That'll be fun. Like, I've tried to get my wife to hunt and stuff, but she's like, ah. Her thing is like, who's gonna watch the boys if I'm hunting with you? And I'm
Oh
like, well, that's
yeah,
what grandparents are for.
yeah.
But,
There you go.
but the problem is everybody's like 3 to 5 hours away from us since we moved over to this
Yeah,
side of the state. But it's like, I don't know, we could figure it out. I'd like to get her hunting a little more. And I think this year,
yeah.
like, she's gonna go with us on my boys antelope tag. We'll all just go as a family because
Nice.
it's actually an either sex tag, but we've kind of like we can find a buck to shoot, so we'll just do that.
Oh,
And
there you go.
yeah, we'll just go out as a family, and that way they can all be a part of it, and should be fun. Should be a good time.
Yeah,
But
that's good. That's a good antelope. That's like a great one to bring everyone.
oh, absolutely. And I love antelope meat too. It's like one of my
Yeah,
favorite.
it's good.
It's up there. Like bear and antelope are like at the top for us,
Yeah, dude.
and I don't know. But then a lot of time will probably be taken up with Brian's elk hunt off and on. Like
Yeah,
the early part of the season, he'll have another guy or he'll have himself to film because he's going to be mostly in a tree stand the first 7 to 10 days. And then after that, if he hasn't got one down, then we'll turn to the spot and stock, some calling tactics or whatever. And
Nice.
then if we do that, then I'll be more involved with that just because it's a little harder, especially with the bow for somebody that's not super experienced to film and try and spot and stock over the shoulder. It just doesn't work out very well. So
Yeah.
I'll help him out there. And I've been down there twice with him, um, pulling cameras. And then this last weekend, we set up, or this last week, I guess, we set up tree stands and kind of picked our routes and you made trails into where we could get into the stands real quiet. And
Nice.
hopefully all our planning pays off because we've got some freaking stud bulls on camera.
Yeah.
But you have a month of almost a month of time where you don't know what they're doing, where they went, who's passing through, because they make you pull your cameras on the like
Yeah.
the 30th of July. So we got
Yeah.
hopefully enough intel.
Nice.
But this should be a fun
That's
hunt
good.
though. I'm excited for him. He hasn't
Yeah.
had he hasn't ever had a really, really good elk tag. So
Yeah.
neither have I. None of us have, but I
Yeah.
mean, Lampers and Livesay had some good tags a couple years ago. Killed some
Yeah.
freaking giant bulls, but other than that, we just all been doing over the counter DIY stuff, and it's how I've been doing it my entire life. So nothing new. It's enjoyable. It's hard work, but yeah, those are the tags that I'm fortunate to get every year, but they're a grind. They're always a grind,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
it's a part of it. It makes the success just that much sweeter when you do have the
Yeah,
success. So,
it does. Yeah.
but
Good, man.
yeah.
So I think you've told me this before, but where did you?
So I grew up just north of Twin Falls area.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been an Idaho resident my entire life. Just I wasn't moving to Utah when I started full time with Brian. I was like, dude, I'm not giving up my Idaho residency.
Yeah, no way.
So I just was like, yeah, I'm staying here. Preston's as far as I'm gonna go close to Utah. I was like, I'll drive the rest of the way
Nice.
because I don't have enough points in Utah to ever draw any
Yeah.
like good tags. I've got a few points here and there, but not enough to ever draw anything. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
moving to Utah. So I
Yeah.
have the
I
opportunity
don't
every
blame you.
year to hunt, with as a resident, and Idaho does a pretty decent job with their residents. Uh,
Hmm.
getting tags every year, some type of tag every year. But
Yeah.
like Montana or Wyoming, I'd rather be in Montana in a way, but I think Idaho does have bigger mule deer, so like that's the
I
plus to
think you're right.
Idaho.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fun. Kind of trying to plan what we're gonna do for mule deer in Montana because I'd like to archery hunt it if I can, but I don't think I have time. So trying to figure
Yeah.
out where I want to rifle hunt. And I mean, that's kind of why Montana doesn't have any giant mule deer because you get to rifle hunt them in the rut. So
True. That's
it's,
true.
it's, you got like 12 weeks of mule deer hunting. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like, if you can find a good buck, then heck yeah, man. But it's tough to find some big deer in Montana
Yeah.
versus Idaho, Wyoming, other states. There's always a chance you can find some pretty good bucks here, but few and far between anymore on the public stuff
Yeah.
anyway.
It's getting
So
harder.
it is getting harder, but it's, like we've had this conversation a lot with whether it's management or the amount of tags allotted, but I also think it has a lot to do with new homes coming in. A lot of homes have come in and moved into mule deer migration routes, which has put a damper on things, highways, freeways. That's changed a lot of things as well. And I do think that the population of people moving into those areas really has affected the deer numbers. And I think a lot of parts of Idaho, they have so many elk numbers in places that there used to only be mule deer. Now there's elk in there, and they don't coincide that well together. And I think we've had so many elk in the state that they've kind of pushed a lot of the mule deer out of their original places that I grew up hunting. And I'm not saying that the deer numbers aren't there still, but in that particular area, the deer numbers are much less than they were before. I'm not that old, but I remember growing up like 15 years ago and hunting a bunch, almost 20 years ago hunting, and the amount of mule deer in places we would go is just insane. And now it's
Yeah.
like you're lucky to find 10, 15 mule deer in that spot, and if you can find a good buck, then cool, but it's not the same. The spots I used to hunt before are not the same spots I hunt now just because the deer numbers are not there and I haven't seen the mature bucks there over the last 10, 12, 15 years. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what to do about it. Just, I mean, you hope the mule deer numbers come back, but it's not looking too good with hard winters and then tags and um, I think just yeah, the population that has grown. You take areas like Boise and stuff. I mean, it is blowing up there,
It's
and
crazy.
a lot more people moving in, a lot more. I'd say more people in that area are hunting because of the population growth, but then also there's so many homes in what used to be mule deer habitat areas. I have a ton of homes in there now, and it's just pushed those deer elsewhere, or um, you get more deer congregated in a small area when people are hunting. You take more deer out of there because that's where most of the deer are, and I think it does hurt the numbers. And this is all just theoretical, but it's kind of my guess of maybe what's going on, why we don't have quite the mule deer numbers we used to. But still good hunting out there. Just got to work a little harder than
Yeah.
some other guys, and we've had good success doing it. But it is a lot of work, especially packing camera gear.
I know.
Makes it heavy,
It
but
does.
it's all about it. Like when you're packing, I don't know. I think with Brian and I, like if I'm on a hunt by myself or I'm just the sole filmer, I think I'm 22 pounds in camera gear is roughly usually
Yeah.
what I take. If Brian and I are together, we kind of split that, and then we're both about around like 12 to 13 pounds because we do bring a little extra stuff when we're together. I don't know about yourself, but it gets heavy. You guys got guys like
Yeah,
Lampers
it
that
does.
don't pack any camera gear, and he's 15
I
or 20
know.
pounds lighter than we are.
Dude, it's so true.
But it
Yeah.
is. But it's fun. Like, I don't know. We enjoy it. We really enjoy bringing the content to the people. And, we pack the big lenses, the heavy equipment, just so we
Yep.
can give the viewer the experience, and really make them feel like they're there. And we really focus on getting good wildlife footage. I mean, 90% of the time, the animal is the star of the video. And so we pack that heavy stuff to really make it a point to capture that incredible video of those animals doing what they do in their natural habitat and in their natural state of emotion. And it's pretty cool. It's been fun over the last 4 years, like working full time with Brian to hone my camera skills, but then to learn a lot and how and why we do things when we are packing this much weight and stuff, and we've all evolved over time. I mean, we film different now than when I started with Brian 4 years ago, but
Yeah.
it's fun. It's cool. Like, to see some incredible things, over the last 4 or 5 years that I've been doing it full time. And I'm sure as you're growing in this space too, it's same for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It is cool and it's fun. Like you've probably seen this with yourself too. Like as the years go by, you look back and you're like, oh dang, like this is like sometimes it feels like you haven't made any progress in like your films and stuff, and you look back and
Yeah.
you're like, dang, dude, we've like
Oh, a
these are way
lot
better.
of difference.
Yeah,
Absolutely. For
that's
sure.
cool.
I look at, like, especially photography and stuff,
Yeah,
I was super fortunate to learn from guys like Casey Richmond from Everly Stock. He taught me a lot. And then as I started going out on my own, doing more, um, got to be around some guys that are good at photography and kind of picking their brain. And then also learning the video side of things and running basically a photography camera for all of our video. Then it really helped dial in kind of how to run the camera and the settings
hmm
and then editing and stuff like that and learning how to edit and watching. I've always been a really big fan of like watching others in the industry, how they're doing it, how they edit, especially on photos and stuff. Like Brian is really good at editing films, and I'm getting there. And but like the photo side of things is where I've like really tried to hone a lot of my stuff because Brian is really good with video. He's okay with the photo stuff. but it's not his specialty. He hasn't focused on
Yeah.
that. And so I'm trying to help even the playing field in what we do. And I try and take more of the photo side of things, and he takes, a lot of the video side of things. And it's been really good, but it's helped me learn a lot. And I'm still learning. Like, I try and still pick apart, like guys like yourself and guys like um, Stephen Drake. I've, picked his brain a few times and some others. Just really like Kobe Owens from Weatherby.
Yeah.
He's an incredible photographer and stuff. And so I've just tried to follow what they're doing and yeah, be inspired by what they do. And hopefully I can do the same for somebody else down the road at some point. But
Yeah. I love it. So one of the things you said is like learning from other people and kind of like not copying their what they're doing, but like
yep.
using what they've done.
Hmm.
Some people might think that like that's not right or something, but personally, I think that's great. I watch like your guys' films and the way that Brian edits them, and I've learned a lot and like included a lot of the stuff that he's done in my films, and it's just made them better.
Yep. Right. For
And
sure.
personally, I don't feel like I'm like stealing anything. Like I feel like it's okay.
Nope.
Um,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
and yeah,
Well, that's the thing is like, back in the day, Brian learned a lot from watching the hunting public.
yeah,
Is
right,
kind of how he started basing the edits on some of his films. And obviously, I'm a firm believer that it takes, minimum of 10,000 hours to become what's the quote? I can't remember what it is. It's like 10,000 hours to become an expert at something or whatever.
right. I know what you're
And
saying there.
I'm a true believer in that. And even now, Brian, the stuff that we're doing now is like from last year is way beyond what we were doing last year.
Yeah,
And he's so fast at it. He's been helping me, learn and do that type of stuff. And we kind of sit down every day and, as he's editing film and I'm doing the podcast and photos and doing everything else. We'll sit there and we'll break down like this part of the film, and then we'll see, what is it that maybe feels a little different, cringy, not cringy, but just something that doesn't fit right there, and maybe. And so we'll break it down and we'll do that together, and we'll like, all right, what do you think? What do I think? And it's been really good getting that feedback and from him and from me to help, where I can help. And
yeah,
yeah, this coming November when we start releasing all our films, like they're gonna be good. They're gonna be some bangers, which I mean, hopefully they are. Hopefully people enjoy them. We really think that people will,
yeah,
but they're gonna be a little more different and in depth and just a much better film than we've put out in the last couple years for sure. So it's been awesome to see. Again, I think people will really really like them. So got some good hunts for sure from last year and a couple from this year that will be coming out. Basically November, December, January. We're going to try and release a minimum of 10 films every or through that whole thing, and we're going to try and release a film every Sunday. It's a 45-minute to an hour film, so should be good.
nice. That's cool. So you're releasing like all your films within the span of like 3 months,
Hmm.
right there. Okay.
Yep. So in the past, we would do like 4 or 5 weeks here, then we'd have a break, we'd do some hunting, then they would edit, and then we'd just drop as we kind of edit the film.
Right.
And they were good, but there became to be a lot of like 20, 25-minute films, and they were just another YouTube film. Like they were good,
Yeah.
but they weren't like, I don't know, they just weren't that inspiring to us. And we weren't able to fit in like as much educational information as we wanted to. And
Hmm.
just it wasn't as polished as we want it to be. And so as we decided to kind of change this type of format, I guess, we were like, you know what? Let's use the podcast to continue um, producing content, which we're still not that great at. Like there's some days that we miss or weeks, whatever. But as we get busy, get into hunting season, like this year has been different because we've been scouting so much for Brian's tag.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll never draw a tag like this again. And so we've been putting a lot of time into that. But we got some more shows recorded, and so we've kind of just filled in everything with the podcast, and then we have a couple like archery tack shoots in the Western Hunting Summit that they're almost done. We'll produce those, and then that's kind of everything that's going to be produced through the hunting season until November, and then we'll start dropping our films, and everybody can start looking forward to them. I think the first week of November is kind of the first set of films that'll come out. And
Nice.
yeah, we just want them to be a lot more polished and a lot more um, not different, but just not another YouTube
Right.
show
Stand out a little
that's
bit.
out there. Because there's a lot of people nowadays like it's pretty easy to make a YouTube film. It's not super easy to make a really, really good film.
Right.
Um, but there are a lot out there, and we're like, you know what? Just let's just try and set our bar a little higher.
Yeah.
And I think by doing this, it's allowed us to actually do more throughout the summer, like the summits, the tack shoot, do this scouting that we've been doing. Because before we're just running and gunning, like we'd edit film and then we could break away for just a second, and then we'd have to get back to editing film and drop it. So we just didn't have as much time, and so now we have more time and get our hours of production done, but it allows us to kind of step away and do some other things as well. So
Yeah.
should be awesome. Hopefully everybody enjoys them, which I think they will. I mean, they're pretty epic hunts. They're pretty sweet. So
That's cool. I
we'll
love it,
see.
dude.
Hopefully.
Yeah, right. So I'm just curious, as you work full time with Grady throughout the
Mhm.
year, like what does your schedule look like? What are you doing? Like, because hunting season is not year round, so you're not hunting year round. You're
Yep.
editing stuff a lot probably. What does
Yep.
kind of like a day in your life generally look like for work?
Yeah. So I try and like one thing is I don't try and let myself get out of shape. I'm fortunate to be able to do
Yeah.
stuff. Now I'm not a big gym guy. Um, I'm I always do like what helps me relate to what I'm doing on the mountain. And so
Yeah.
I still do like burpees and stuff like that. I do the burpees and the running when I shoot my bow because that kind of gives me um, the high heart rate and kind of the adrenaline rush and the shaky arms or whatever when I'm shooting my bow as my adrenaline
Hmm.
kind of hits me. So I do that a lot, but I do a lot of rucking. So I'll try and do that usually in the mornings when it's early. Have like a 2.25 mile loop around my that goes by my property that I have. And so I try and do that loop with 50 or 100 pounds all the time. And I always try and do it for time. And then I spend most of the day doing the everyday stuff of like reaching out to talking with partners and folks that are associated with Gritty and stuff and setting up podcasts with people. Um, Depends on the day. Like there's trying to record or do some content for whatever companies, whether it's Peaks or Initial Ascent or whoever it might be. So I'm always in contact with them because I enjoy building the relationship with companies and people, and Brian does too. But he wants to just be where he can focus on the film, and so he
Hmm.
does most of the film stuff, and he just focuses on editing that, and then we record our podcast. So I usually only go into the office at Brian's place like 3 times a week because it's like an hour and 10 minute drive for me. So I try and
Yeah.
go in only like 2 or 3 times a week. We record 1 or 2 shows, whatever we can do. Kind of do a scheduling meeting, whatever that might be. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, every day it's like I get up, I usually try and work out or do something. I work on the computer quite a bit, and then there's some times like I'm fortunate that if my kids have an activity or something, I can go to that activity, then I can get back to work. So there are times that I might work in the morning for a little bit, and then I go do some stuff with them or with the family, and then I go back to work and kind of get some stuff done in the at night, just depending on what the schedule is for that week or day. And it's obviously a lot easier to get stuff done when I'm not like watching the kids.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, like I'll try and edit my podcast and then got to get the boys lunch. If my wife is at work that day or something, she only works a few days a week, and we kind of swap back and forth. When I'm working, she's watching them, and when she's working, I'm watching them. And so it's not always easy to get stuff done when I am watching the boys, but I try and like, okay, for a couple hours I can get some work done here. Then I'm focused on the boys and whatever they need to get done, and then later I can get back to work and do some more stuff too. Some days I work 10, 12 hours. Other days I work 5 or 6 hours. It just depends on the day and
Yeah.
and again blessed to do that. But yeah, I'm always taking care of some social stuff which we are not great at. Brian and I both kind of do it, but um, some social stuff like emails, all our YouTube comments and stuff from our uh, content, and a lot
Hmm.
of it is just dealing with people on a daily basis that we're associated with, getting them photos or whatever it may be that we have, or working on partner deals or codes that we have. We don't have a lot of actual like partners. We mostly do all our stuff on code based on our performance really. Um, but yeah, other than that, it's just busy. The phone's always ringing off the hook or somebody texting me wanting
Yeah.
something, but it's good. I'm blessed, you know, to be able to do this stuff and yeah, it's been fun. Like I'm still a nobody and I don't care to be somebody that's super famous in the hunting industry. If I wanted to, obviously I would work on my social media a lot more, but I really don't. I'll
Yeah.
post something here and there, but I like building the relationships with just good people. After being in the industry for 4 or 5 years, like I feel really blessed to have the circle that I run in. Got guys like Bryce Bishop from Peaks Equipment, you know, obviously Mark Livesay, Ryan, Brian. Uh, there's like Drew at Tricer, a few other people. Like our circle is pretty small, but we have just such a good group of genuine people. And as I've got to know a lot of people in the industry, like there's a lot of people that I speak to a lot and ask for advice or whatever. Um, you know, talk to them about hunts or video production or whatever it may be. And then there's like I found a few people that I'm like, yeah, they're cool. But as a brand and a business, I'm like, we don't align with the same things, and nothing wrong with that. And it could be something wrong with me or something, whatever it is with them. But I've just found that I really like keeping my circle tight, close, and man, we have a good team with the guys that we do have that we're associated with. It's just been awesome to watch everybody grow, and I feel like they want to watch me succeed, and I want to watch them succeed just as much as myself, you know. And again, we're rooting for each other, and I think it's really has made a good team between all of us. Um, it's been fun the last 4 years of doing this full time, 3.5 years, I guess. It's just been really fun, and even watching myself grow over this period of time. I mean, we were looking back at film from 2020 and was like, holy cow, like time has flown by, and how we film, how I film my photography work and all that is just so different. And I've learned so much from 4 or 5 years ago and but yeah, just the circles we run in, I'm very blessed to be a part of these teams that we have put together. It's been cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's huge, dude. Is like spending time with people who push you, who are good for you,
Yep,
who are good friends. So it's a big one.
absolutely. And that's we critique each other too. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you need to do this better, or whatever it may be. Hey, you're being a little selfish on this, you know. And we've all kind of sat down and had a heart to heart, and that has bonded us even more. Like we're close, you know. I mean, I spend so much time with Brian, spend a ton of time with Lampers and with Livesay, and yeah, just being around good, genuine people. And I truly believe like you become the just like the 5 people you hang out with the most. And
Yeah.
man, it's definitely helped me in life and with the family and all that stuff. It just again, blessed to be able to hang out with guys like that and be in that circle, because you know it's not easy to get into some of those circles, and sometimes it's not a good idea to be in the circles you're running in. You know, like there's a lot
Yeah.
of bad stuff out there, and yeah, just blessed to be in the circle that I'm in, know the
Yeah.
people I know and hang out with. But
Yeah. That's good.
yeah, I
Good.
mean,
I love that.
like
Thanks for go for it.
I was gonna say, you know, when we go to like Ryan's summits, we'll do those summits and stuff,
Yeah.
Lamper summits, the Western Hunting Summit, and dude, it is incredible when you get 25 or 30, 40 guys there and come up and talk to you and just they're inspired by what we do, but they realize that like what you see on film with us is what you get. Like we're not any different, you know, and I've learned that there's some people that I've met that are incredible, and there's some people that I put on a pedestal, and then once I got to know them in the hunting industry, I'm like, dude, they're not the same person. And that's the one thing. Like if I could want one thing for myself to leave, um, or to somebody to be, let me try, how would I say this? Like, I guess the one thing I would want to be known for is just like the same person I am on film as I am in person, and the generosity that I see, the good in people. that's what I want to be known for, is just leaving them with who I am. Like, I don't want to fake anything. I just want to be the person I am on film. And sometimes I don't take it or leave it. Like, either like me or you don't. I don't care. But I just genuinely want to be a good person. That's my thing, is I just want to be a good person and respect everybody. But again, there are those that I care about a lot more, and I just want to be that good person that like, I don't know. I don't like burning bridges ever,
Yeah.
because who knows, 10 years down the road, it's like I might need a favor from that person or whatever. And so, yeah, just trying to be a good person in the industry and not be fake. Just be who I am. Again, you can like it, you don't like it, is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
That's good. I think that's important to keep in mind, especially for people who want to get in the industry, is like,
yep,
don't be someone else you're
it's
not.
no, and it's a small space. Like, the industry is really
Yeah.
small. It's a lot smaller than you think. And it doesn't take long for people to kind of sniff out if you're not being genuine or whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. And it's helped me. I think, again, that over time, that's why my circle has stayed pretty small, because I just enjoy being around the guys that I am. They push me to be harder and do better work and to create better quality stuff, and then hunt harder too. We hold each other accountable when we're hunting. And that's one thing, I guess, I get asked a lot by people on the outside of the hunting industry, not so much on the inside, but more on the outside, is how has your hunting or style changed since you got it? You've been hanging out with Ryan and Brian and stuff by doing this full time. And I tell them, honestly, my hunting style has not changed. Like, it is the same. This is how I hunted growing up. I just have more days to do it now. Like, as
Yeah.
far as the physical fitness and the backpacking and all that stuff, none of it has changed. It's just, again, I get it. I spend a lot more days out doing it now than I did back in the day. I mean, I used to be the weekend warrior, and if I could get a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in those 3 days, like, I'd backpack in and I'd take it. But most of the time it was a Saturday, Sunday, and even if I had to drive all night to a spot, I'd hike in
Yep.
the night and be ready to hunt the next morning. Try not to waste any time. And so, like, e-scouting and stuff was a big part of what I used to do, because I had to, like, make that time the use of time, because I had such a short window to hunt. But during, you know, 5, 10 years ago, I didn't have a lot of time.
Right.
And so, but now I'm fortunate and blessed to be able to go do it for 10 days or 12 days at a time. And I try, again, my focus this year is not to spend as much time out by myself or with like Brian, Ryan. It's to spend the time out with my boys, and as they're getting older, to start hunting now. Like, this is because, I mean, my core memories are of hunting with my dad, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
God, those are the moments I want to create with my boys too. And
Yeah.
so it's been fun. Like, my 10-year-old this year, he shot his first animal. He shot a turkey this spring, and I've never killed a turkey. I've never had any desire to kill a turkey, but it's like, why not? We can hunt it. Let's go do it. And
Yeah.
I started shaking more when he shot the turkey than I ever have when I've shot an animal. And I was like, dude, what is going on? But it was fun to see, and his excitement. And so I'm really looking forward to doing more of that this year, spending more time with my dad, um, who's still goes very well, but he's not a young buck anymore. He's over 60 now, and he still goes pretty good, but I can see him slowing down. So I'm like, these are the times and moments that I want to cherish, and have
Yeah.
my dad and my brother hunting with my boys too. So that's kind of what I'm focused on more so this year than even myself, for sure. Like, I don't care to pull the trigger on another mule deer for a while, or an elk. Like, I'm going to, because I got some tags or whatever, but and some hunts that my boy can't go do. But when those are over, like, my focus is him. It's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
yeah.
I've seen that progression a little bit with my dad. I mean, he used to hunt a ton, like
Hmm.
on his own, and then as I got old enough, he would take me as much as he could. And now like, I don't, the last time he killed a deer, it was probably like 8 years ago or something.
Really.
And since then, like, I have five younger siblings, so he takes them out every year and tries to like help them. and
Yeah.
he doesn't have a ton of time, but the time that he does have, he just spends it with us, and like
Yeah.
that's that's fulfilling for him, and that's cool. That's I mean, I'm at a stage where everything I do is like for myself for hunting, right? Like I
Yep.
don't have anyone. I have my wife, which is really cool, so I get to like share it with her and bring her along. But
Right.
someday I will have that opportunity to like take kids out, and so that's cool.
Yeah. And that's, man, I'm excited for it because, like,
Yeah,
I've got three boys, so everything's gonna get fun. Like, they're all,
yeah,
my youngest is 6 years old now, and yeah, it's gonna get super fun. I can't wait to get them all three out there at the same time, and that's why I think this antelope hunt is gonna actually be super meaningful because I've never, most of the hunts that I do are, deep backcountry backpacking hunts that I can't take the
yeah,
wife and kids on all the time. And,
right,
so they don't get to experience, like a few years ago, mostly like 10 years ago. Um, One of the only spike elk I've ever shot with a bow. Usually I wouldn't shoot a spike, and I shot a spike because my wife was with me. It was the first time that she had an opportunity to like watch me shoot something, break it down, pack it out. And so I shot this spike, and to see the joy and the excitement and the adrenaline that she got, I'm like, man, that's gonna be fun to watch, to be a part
yeah,
of with all my family. As my oldest, we go antelope hunting and stuff. And again, I'd like to start doing a lot more hunts like that, just because the family time and getting the boys more involved in it. I mean, they can't go do a 10-mile backpack hunt like we're normally doing, but
right,
I'm working on doing some of those other hunts that are more, I would say, fun hunts, because they're usually like, there aren't, we don't have that many fun hunts, as I would say, the easy kickback. And that's why I'm like, next year I think I might do some more bear baiting. I've done some in the past, but I might do some more bear baiting where I'm sitting in a tree stand and I can bring, or a ground blind, and I can bring the kids,
yeah,
because just getting them involved more. And it's like, well, I don't really care if I kill another big bear or not, as long as I can have the kids there with me. That's what I care about, and watching their joy and excitement, get them more hands-on breaking stuff down. Like when I bring meat home, they usually try and help me cut it up or whatever, but uh yeah, definitely not as much as I would like them to be out in the outdoors, but I'm trying to change that.
yeah. Good, dude.
So
How you doing on time?
good. Yep. Good.
Okay, cool. Um, I have a question for you. This is something I've like thought about recently in my own films and my own hunts, and then like whenever you capture a hunt on film and you post it, people are gonna know where it's at. They're gonna recognize some of the stuff. What are your guys's like when you film and post a film?
Hmm.
Do you care if people are gonna know where it's at? Do you try to like
Always.
protect it? What? Yeah.
Yep. Always, because it doesn't matter. Like in the past, we weren't as secretive as we should be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's some things like, yeah, just in the past we weren't. But all it takes, dude, is a few people and four or five of their buddies to blow up a spot. And so, we try and never show like a skyline. We try and never show like a really um, big physical feature. And I mean, that's a lot of times, that's like why you'll see us a lot of times get the camera so close to the guy that we're filming. One, we want the audio to be good.
Right.
Two, we want to blur the crap out of the background as much as we can. And so we have been, especially the last 2 or 3 years, we've been very careful about the spots that we're hunting and not sharing any information with anybody where we're at, because again, it can be blown up real fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're very careful about it. Like a lot of times we don't even try and tell people what state we're in for the most part.
Right.
And so yeah, and again, there's a lot of tricks and stuff we use to also put into the film that helps keep people guessing. So
Right.
it's like we don't, because not even just for us blowing stuff up, it's for the locals in that area
For
that
sure.
we may be in or whatever. We don't want to bring in more hunters to their spots or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there are a lot of times like, every now and then we'll go back to the same spot, but there's a lot of times we will never go back to that spot just because we don't know. Like we don't want a bunch of guys to show up on our hunt. We've had it happen to us before, and that was a little different story. Like a few people saw some physical um, things that we put in the film to kind of know where it was at, but it was a very few, a small group of people. But it was fish and game and biologists that had checked in our wolves and bears and all this stuff and shared some information with some people. And we had like 35 guys show up in a spot one year. And
Dang.
it wasn't from the film, it was from the authorities that we checked some stuff in with that were sharing information. And so we haven't been back to that spot in a few years. Um,
Yeah.
but it's like, gosh dang it, like why would people do that? Come on, man. Like
No,
really?
that's
So
us
yeah, so we try and be very not secretive, but we're just doing it out of respect for other
for
people and
sure.
other hunters too. So yeah, we try and share as little information as possible on it.
Yeah,
So yep,
that's good.
but yeah, because it can blow up in a hurry.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Good. Yeah, that's been like a struggle of mine because you want to make a good film and have the views and like show that experience,
yep,
but yeah, you don't want to show a spot. I've like if you guys have had this too, I'm sure, where it's like you post a film and you have people message you like hey, like I know like that's my hunting spot or whatever, or like, oh, like thanks for blowing up my spot or something. And it's like, well, I'm not trying to blow up your spot, and I'm not trying to show everyone where we're at, but I'm just trying to make a good video, right? A good
yeah,
film.
yep,
And
for sure. And I would say again, the last 2 and 3 years, like we haven't had much of that.
really, that's good.
Because we are very careful of the information that we share. I mean, even on like a podcast, most of the time we don't even say
Yeah,
where we're hunting,
right.
or I mean, we'll say the species unless we're, out of the country or something like that, or,
Yeah,
but usually, or a limited tag or something. But usually we try and not share any of that information for many reasons.
yeah,
Yep.
that's smart.
So,
That's smart.
yep.
Um, Kind of the last big question I had and want to talk about, just get your opinion on this, is new people who want to get into the industry, maybe on YouTube or Instagram, like, is there room? Because I've heard some people, I don't really believe this, but people will say like, oh, there's no room. There's so much, like so many people do it already. Like you'd never make it. What are your thoughts?
I think there's always. I mean, it's just like technology and innovation. There's new products come to market. It's not that much different, but just somebody innovated a certain product to bring to market. And when you take like a perfect example of that is the all-in digiscoping setup.
Yeah,
Like they took what was already there, been there for 10 years, and they innovated it and made it that much better. I think the hunting industry and is the same way. If you're making films, like make films that are going to inspire people, make films that will educate people, and make them want to get to know you more. Like I think that's what sets yourself apart is if you can edit a film to relate to somebody and you're like whoever is the star of the film, if people get to and want to get to know that person better, you've done a good job. Like if they're interested in their life. So the perfect film for this was like, I don't know if you watched the recent Hunt and Fool film with Jared Lyle. It was that elk hunt that he did. And to me, that was like the perfect example of a film because as I got to watch it, like it made me, and I know Jared a little bit, not that great. I've only talked to him a couple times. Don't know him on a real personal level, just from business stuff. And as I watched that film, I'm like, dude, I want to get to know Jared so much more. As they told the story, and I think if you can do that, just set yourself apart and be authentic. I think that's it. And I don't think there's always room for people in the space. Like people can make a regular YouTube, and if you can set yourself apart, you'll get noticed. Um, and especially if you're a hunter already, like there are videographers and photographers that are way better than I am, but they can't sneak in on an elk, in 4 inches of grass for 500 or 600 yards. Yeah, they got the video side of things, but they can't sneak into that. And so I think if you're a hunter and a good videographer, or photographer, then you make yourself very valuable. And people will want you to film for them, whether you've been in the space or not. Like it makes a big difference. So I think just being genuine and then really focusing on the things that you're good at and selling yourself, where people want to hire you as a videographer or whatever. So I mean that's what I would say. There's space, there's room for somebody and everything. So I mean
yeah,
it is saturated, but it's like I don't know. You look at yeah, like different films. I mean, there are good films out there, and like Meat Eater years ago, really good films back in the day, and yet we're still making really good films today, different than Meat Eater. So just find what it is that you're good at and show your value, I think. So,
Yeah, I agree, 100%. So
yep,
that's what I tell people too. Is just like there's always room.
absolutely.
So
Yep. And for like myself in the industry for a few years now, like there's growth too. There's many ways to grow and get better and take the criticism. Like I'll say Brian is probably one of the toughest dudes to work for. Like he's really good and he's caring, but he also wants you to do like he wants you to be really good, and he wants you to not only for because I'm working and help grow his business, but also for me on a personal level too. We all hold each other accountable, not just on the business side of things, but on the personal side of things and stuff. And it's definitely been a blessing in my life and helped me. And I hope I've done the same with Ryan and Brian and those guys. I hope I've brought some value to them, which I think I have. Or I probably still wouldn't be hanging around, but they wouldn't keep me around. But yeah, I mean, just being a good asset to those around you. And again, don't be afraid if somebody new, like, don't expect to make it a full-time job right off the bat. Like, it's not easy to
yeah,
do. I got super lucky and very fortunate to be able to do this. And uh, don't be afraid to like be cheap. Like, don't expect to make a bunch of money off of it right away. And then, even then, like, I don't make a bunch of money. I'm, just enough to live comfortably, but not like I'm rich or anything, that's for sure.
yeah,
And I would rather not make as much money doing something that I love versus making a bunch more money doing something I absolutely hate.
yep,
But yeah, just don't be afraid to really put your price. Like, you still want to show your value, but until you start growing in the industry, like, make it very affordable for people, and then they see your talent, and then once you get a little more known, you can start charging more and maybe make a career out of it. Again, it's not easy to do in the hunting industry. Like,
yeah.
it's to do it full time is not easy.
No,
But,
not at all.
just again, being genuine and working your tail off, like having a super high work ethic and being a hard worker. And that's the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing with Gritty, is because I was willing to, I was working my normal job. I was away from home. I was working down in Salt Lake City where Brian was at the time. And, we ran into each other a few times off and on tack or whatever. And then I'd called in the world championships, and I ran into him at the bow shop, and I was like, dude, if there's ever an opportunity for me to just learn a little bit of camera stuff, like, I've never touched a camera in my life. If there's an opportunity to do that, I'd love to. And he's like, well, you get off work, come over to the office for a couple hours, and I can show you some things, show you some camera stuff. And I did that every day after work because I was away from my family anyway. What was I going to go do? Sit in the hotel room and sleep? So I'd go
Yeah,
over to Brian's at the office after a 10 or 11 or 12-hour day of my normal job, and I'd go over there and I would just spend as much time trying to soak in editing and learning how to edit, running a camera. And then I ended up taking 5 of my own personal days for vacation to go on a hunt with him to learn how to film. And so I did that, and it was super thick country, wasn't great for filming anyway. And I ended up just calling elk for Brian, and then I think that's probably why he kept me around. He's like, oh, he's a good elk caller. But no, yeah, we just kind of hit it off. And then, as I started doing stuff, he helped me learn some stuff. I went to work for kind of doing some stuff on my own, and then I ended up working for the Backfire channel. Started there, and I learned a lot of stuff there too, and that was an awesome opportunity. And then I went and worked for Eberly Stock and started learning new skills, more skills like my photography skills and stuff. So don't be afraid to just, I mean, sleep. You can get by on a few hours of sleep, especially if you're young, and
yeah,
just be willing to work and learn and take the constructive criticism for sure to better yourself, both as a videographer, photographer, and as a person. Like
yeah,
guys that have a lot of experience and have been around a while, those old guys like Lampers and Livesay and Brian. I mean, I'm 16 years younger than Brian, almost 20 years younger than Livesay. And so it's like those guys have some life experience and, they know some things. And I've tried to really pick their brain, not just about hunting and the hunting industry and stuff, but about life, about making money, about, family stuff, whatever it may be. Like, just don't be afraid to ask those around you for advice. And hopefully they're willing to give it. And yeah, just be you and work hard. Show the hard work ethic and you'll make it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome, dude. That's good. That's good. If people listen to that, that's good stuff right there.
Yep.
So,
well, appreciate it, man. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's wrap it up. We can stay on and talk for a sec after, but thanks for coming on, man. And we'll see everyone next week.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Will do.